Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you with us today. Okay, let's just dive right into this because we are unpacking something truly historic today. We are looking at the Karnataka state budget for the fiscal year 2026-27, presented by Chief Minister Siddharamaiah. And what makes this so special? Well, this actually marks his 17th state budget presentation. That is a record-breaking milestone in the state's history. Now, budget documents can be incredibly dense, right? Thousands of pages of numbers and legal jargon, but today we're going to cut right through the noise. We are going to decode the exact priorities, the financial health, and honestly, some of the very surprising new policies of this massive state. Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the big financial picture. Second, the 11G economic vision. Third, urban and rural infrastructure. Fourth, agriculture and grassroots. Fifth, social welfare and education. And finally, tech, environment, and safety. 4,48,004 crore rupees. Let's just let that historic figure sink in for a second, because that is the massive proposed total outlay for this financial year. This is literally the financial engine that's going to drive a state of over 60 million people for the next 12 months. All right, Section 1, the big financial picture, scaling the state's economy. So when we open up the state's balance sheet, you'll see total receipts are projected at about 4,47,000 crore. But if you look closely, the expenditure is higher. What that means is we are looking at a deficit budget. The state is projecting a revenue deficit of approximately 22,957 crore rupees. It is absolutely crucial to keep this deficit in the back of your mind as we look at all the spending programs later on, because every single rupee allocated has to be weighed against this broader fiscal reality. But hey, despite that deficit, the state's growth engine, it is roaring. Karnataka's real GSDP growth is sitting at an impressive 8.1%, totally outpacing the national average of 7.4%. And this isn't just a sudden spike in one sector. This is supported by a broad-based, steady growth pattern across agriculture, industry, and the services sector. Basically, the economy is expanding at a highly competitive rate. And backing up that growth is some serious, heavy-hitting inward investment. Karnataka has already secured $9.4 billion in foreign direct investment. To put that into perspective for a second, that accounts for 26.7% of the entire nation's total FDI inflows. Global money is betting heavily on Karnataka's future right now. Moving right along to Section 2, the 11G economic vision, a framework for inclusive growth. So, what's the philosophy driving all this? The government has branded its approach the 11G economic model, and it's basically a giant balancing act. They are pairing a guarantee economy focused on welfare and gender equality with a growing urban economy. They're combining good public education with a grassroots economy for the rural areas, and they're tying the whole shebang together with a green economy focused on renewable energy. It is a very ambitious framework, specifically designed to remove regional disparities and push for sustainable geographic equality. Which brings us to Section 3, Urban and Rural Infrastructure, Connecting the State. Okay, if you have ever been stuck in Bengaluru traffic, these numbers are going to sound like a dream. A massive 7,000 crore rupees is earmarked solely for the city's infrastructure. Just look at this breakdown. 3,000 crore goes just to white-topping 450 kilometers of urban roads to finally make them weather-resistant. Then another 2,250 crore is pushing forward new metro lines and these really ambitious tunnel road projects. It's a massive financial commitment aimed squarely at solving the city's notorious mobility challenges. Now, contrasting the capital city's spending is the Pragati Patha scheme. This is a huge rural connectivity initiative assisted by the Asian Development Bank. We are talking about a total project cost of 5,190 crore rupees, all aimed at developing over 7,100 kilometers of rural roads. The budget drops an immediate 500 crore this year just to get the asphalt rolling. All right, Section 4, Agriculture and Grassroots Growth, Cultivating the Future. One major initiative here is the creation of a millet hub. And this isn't just a simple market. It's designed as a fully self-sustaining single-window institution. The goal is to offer everything from technical assistance and processing facilities to quality certification and market linkages, all under one roof. It is a super structured approach to boost organic farming, support rural youth, and honestly, create a whole new wave of agri-entrepreneurs. And the budget is pushing some serious tech innovation straight to the grassroots level too. They're allocating 100 crore for the Krishi Vistara Yojana to strengthen post-harvest value addition, basically making sure food doesn't go to waste. They are also upgrading the farmer call center with artificial intelligence to give farmers immediate, reliable data on weather and markets. And I find this part absolutely fascinating. Palad Hare camps are being organized in 1,000 gram panchayats with the specific goal of ensuring one calf per year to completely revolutionize livestock reproduction. Section 5. Social Welfare and Education. Investing in Human Capital. Now, there is a very unique legislative inclusion buried within this budget document. The government is actually proposing the Rohit Vemula Act. Named after the student whose tragic 2016 death sparked national debates, this act seeks to legally prevent caste-based discrimination across all public and private higher education institutions in Karnataka. This is a major shift in focus from purely financial numbers to deep institutional reform and social justice. So, let's look at how these allocations translate into a human narrative. Imagine a child growing up in the state next year. Thanks to a 3,900 crore allocation, their local school might be one of 800 upgraded to the Karnataka public school model. When they sit in class, they'll likely be taught by one of the 15,000 newly hired teachers. And if that child happens to suffer from type 1 diabetes, this budget guarantees they will be provided with free life-saving insulin pens. These aren't just big numbers on a page. They represent profound daily changes for the next generation. Of course, the crucial point is how the government is honoring its political pledges, the so-called guarantees. Take the Gruha Lakshmi scheme, which drops 2,000 rupees in monthly financial assistance directly to eligible female household heads to empower women and cut down living costs. Combine that with the massive India Food Kits program, which is backed by a staggering 6,200 crore rupee allocation to distribute essential groceries like pulses, sugar, and cooking oil. These are massive, politically significant welfare guarantees aimed squarely at food security and female empowerment. Finally, Section 6. Tech, Environment, and Safety. Protecting the Future. Okay, tucked away in the budget is an incredibly provocative, major surprise element, a digital safety initiative proposing a total ban on social media access for children below 16 years of age. The stated goal here is to combat online addiction and protect youth mental health. But just take a second to consider the monumental, real-world implications of trying to enforce a social media ban on teenagers in India's biggest tech hub. There's no way that's going to be simple. And speaking of being a tech hub, the budget attempts to really harmonize Karnataka's identity as a leader in innovation with the critical need to manage its rich wild ecology. For instance, you see 16 crore rupees allocated to establish artificial intelligence centers of excellence, sitting right alongside a massive 1,500 crore rupee program to address human-animal conflicts, literally building elephant-proof trenches. There's even a 5-crore allocation for a leopard rehabilitation center at Bannerghatta. It is such a fascinating duality of silicon chips and wildlife conservation. So what does this all mean? It brings us to the ultimate question we have to ask after analyzing this 4.48 lakh crore rupee document. Can Karnataka actually successfully balance these massive multi-thousand crore welfare guarantees with the heavy capital-intensive investments required for long-term infrastructure and technological growth? And can they do it all while managing a revenue deficit? That is the absolute core fiscal tension that will define the state in the coming year. It's a massive tightrope walk of governance, and we are going to be eagerly watching how it plays out. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.